everyone, welcome back for a new round of box office predictions. Another weekend of summer 2019 is here, so we are playing with some big money, and it's a very interesting race for those top 5 spots this weekend. I will get to that in a moment, though. First, we've got some Fantasy Movie League shoutouts because the predictions with Perri League had 10 perfect lineups last weekend, and here are the 10 players who got that perfect lineup. Check out these names. Big competition right here on the screen, but me, sadly, not so much because I keep forgetting to set my lineup. So busy running around doing 500 things. I got to get myself back on track, and I'm gonna this weekend. I'm gunning for it. I want to get on this list. As for my rankings from last weekend, I didn't do all that well. I wound up going 3 for 5, but the big miss that is kind of bothering me right now is how off I was on Toy Story because I really loved it and I wanted to see it do really well, and I did want to see it get that animated opening weekend record. It was so far off from that. If only you guys knew how many times I changed my box office predictions for Toy Story 4 before locking it in, but eventually I did, and it was way higher than what the movie actually made. Toy Story 4 did top the charts, but Disney predicted a $140 million start, and Toy Story 4 wound up coming in with $120.9 million. Number 2 went to the new Child's Play movie, which kicked off its run with $14.4 million. Then at number 3, it was Aladdin, which is just trickling down ever so slowly. This time around, it dropped a mere 23.5% and made another $13.2 million. Number 4 went to Men in Black International, which, as expected, took a big hit. It fell 64.4% and made a mere $10.7 million in its second weekend in theaters. And then finally at number 5, it was The Secret Life of Pets 2, which took another $10.3 million this weekend. Now moving into this weekend, which again is a very interesting weekend for a number of reasons, but one of the big ones is this Avengers Endgame re-release. There's really no good comps for that one, so it does feel like a bit of a guessing game to a degree, where I am heavily leaning on current ticket sales, midweek ticket sales. But you know what? I'm actually going to pocket that one for a minute, and I'm going to give my number 5 position to Aladdin. So Aladdin, the last 2 weekends, it saw very minimal percent changes, both below 30%, which is very impressive, and leaves me with the question, can it do it for a third weekend in a row? And in order to figure that out, I'm looking at the movie Maleficent right now because that's the other Disney live-action adaptation that hit theaters right around the same time. So looking at the percent change for that movie, weekend 4 and 5, it was also very low. And then in weekend 6, it went even lower. The number dipped by about 10%. The thing is, though, weekend 6 of Maleficent's run fell on July 4th, which is not the case for Aladdin this time around. So instead, I want to back it up a little with the Maleficent comparisons. And if I look at weekend 4, it made about the same amount of money that Aladdin did in weekend 5 of its run. So then if I look at Maleficent's weekend 5% change, that might put me on the right path to getting the Aladdin number right. 35%. I'm going with the same exact drop for Aladdin, and that would mean the movie is making another $8.5 million this weekend. And now we have come to my biggest risk of the video, because at number 4, I am putting the Avengers Endgame re-release. Yes, I know you might have seen some reports out there suggesting it's not gonna make all that much money. I think I saw some saying between 2 and 4 million, but I want to go a little bit bigger because, again, with my box office predictions, I don't have much to go on as far as comparable releases. So I'm leaning very heavily on ticket sales. And when I look at where those charts are right now, at the point in time that I lock my predictions in, it does suggest that it could be outpacing Aladdin. So I'm just leaning on that 8.5 million that I picked for Aladdin, figuring that Avengers Endgame could be just ahead of it, which is why I'm coming in with $9 million for the re-release of Avengers Endgame. It's got some new footage attached, and just think, if the smallest percentage of people who went and saw this movie opening weekend went back to see it again, that's got to add up to a significant amount. The only thing that's making me nervous right now is there is a chance that these sales are a little front-loaded and won't bleed and then strengthen into the weekend, just because maybe the folks who are going to see it again are prioritizing their ticket buying. But I don't know. I'm sticking with the $9 million for now, and I'm moving on to my number 3 pick for the weekend, and that's where I have newcomer. It's Yesterday. The buzz does seem pretty good on this movie right now, but it's not buzz levels along the lines of, let's say, Rocketman or Bohemian Rhapsody, but instead, I think the movie Get On Up could be a good comp, and if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. Not enough people saw that opening weekend because it only made $13.5 million. The thing is, that movie was released by the same exact studio, and it also had a similar amount of competition in the opening weekend of Guardians of the Galaxy. And for Yesterday, if I combine what I think Toy Story 4 and Annabelle Comes Home are going to make, it could be a comparable amount of competition. I am a little bit hesitant to match that $13.5 million given what current ticket sales look like, but I'm coming in just behind with this one. I do think that Yesterday is going to wind up on the top end of the predicted range I've seen for it this weekend, and I'm giving it $12 million to start. And that brings us to number 2, and that's where I've got the newest installment of the Conjuring film franchise. It's Annabelle Comes Home. Looking at the other 2 Annabelle movies briefly, the first one opened up really big with $37 million. Then that number fell a little bit for Annabelle Creation, which made $35 million. So question is Annabelle Comes Home going to continue that downward trend? And unfortunately, I think that is the case to a degree. I'm looking at current ticket sales, things are looking good, but I have to keep reminding myself this one had a Wednesday debut. So while I do think it could make between 40 and 45 million for its opening weekend, that's for a 5-day stretch, and a much more reasonable number for 3 days to me seems like 30 million, which, yes, it's on the low end for the Conjuring film franchise, but I'm hoping good word of mouth could help this one out because, I don't know, I had a lot of fun with it. Now it's on to number 1, and that's where I still have Toy Story 4. With no new family-friendly competition hitting theaters this weekend, Toy Story 4 is bound to hold strong. What I said last weekend I think is going to hold true. I think Toy Story 4 is gonna have legs, especially when you look at its midweek performances. It has seen day-to-day holds that are very, very strong, and even when I look at Toy Story 3, which wound up opening with a similar amount to Toy Story 4, its weekend 2 drop was just 46.2%. But the thing is, I think what that movie was facing in weekend 2, which is the combination of grown-ups and also night and day, I think that's more competition than the combination of Yesterday and Annabelle. So I want to bring that percent change down a little bit, down to 45%, which would mean Toy Story 4 is making another $66 million this weekend. And of course, that takes us into our recap. Toy Story 4 is topping the charts for me with $66 million. Then I have Annabelle Comes Home coming in at number 2 with $30 million, followed by Yesterday at number 3 with $12 million, followed by my very big swing with Avengers Endgame at number 4, taking $9 million, and then finally Aladdin, rounding out my top 5 with $8.5 million. There you have it, guys. I have so many questions for you, so I want you to hit the comment section below and tell me what are your top 5 rankings, and also, am I just absolutely crazy with this Avengers Endgame prediction? Am I going way too high? Admittedly, it might be a possibility, so I want to know what you are predicting for that movie. Share it in the comments below, and before I say goodbye, we've got Patreon shoutouts to give. A great group right here. They are Ian, Kavi, Ryan, Rosa, and Caleb. You guys are my G-chatters. A lot of you have been with the campaign for such a long time now, and you all rock. I really cannot thank you enough for your continued support. It is a huge, huge help, and I can't wait to chat again real soon. Guys, thank you so much for watching this edition of my box office predictions. Please don't forget to like and share this video, and then tune back in next weekend to see how we all did on our predictions.